Hi everyone, welcome back to today's video. For today we're going to be doing this sweet little friendship card that I'm absolutely obsessed with. I normally don't do like super dark, deep colors with my cards every once in a while, but it's more of the deep tone is like an accent, whereas this is just like full-blown, in your face, black, dark card, but I absolutely love it. I think it looks very, very elegant, very, very pretty. And it's also super stinking easy. So let's go ahead and jump into today's project and talk about what we need to actually create this. So first and foremost, we're going to be using the Honeybee stamp set. The only thing that we're really truly using from the stamp set is the Thinking of You Sweet Friend. So as not most of my videos, but as a lot of my videos, if you have another sentiment you want to use, go ahead and use it. I just pulled this because I really love these bee images and I was planning on using those. But then I kind of switched gears and I started playing around and seeing what I liked and what I didn't like, but I decided to keep using the same stamp set. So again, we're just using the sentiments. If you have something else that you really like, go ahead and use it, have at it. But this one is a really great one to have. The next thing that we are going to be using is the detail bead dies. Now these, you do need these. We're going to be using these to cut out a couple of little bees. Like I said, I was using the bees from the stamp set and I was stamping them and cutting them out, and then I decided to go a different direction, which I'll talk about in just a second, but you do need the detail bead dies, as well as we are using the stitch shaped stitch shape dies. Whew, I don't know why that was so complicated to talk about or to say. For ink today, we're going to be using Versamark, and then we're also going to be using our gold embossing powder. With this, I would recommend, oh no, where did I just throw mine? I would recommend having a little paintbrush or something. I think this was like a cheapo makeup brush that I got with something that I bought at like Target, just to dust off some of the embossing powder in case it sticks to where you don't want to, especially on black cardstock. We do also have our embossing buddy, but I find that on black cardstock, some of that white residue can stick around. So I opted to not use my embossing buddy, and I'm just using this little brush to kind of brush away any stray embossing powder, which we'll talk about when we get there. For our paper, so this is where the really fun part is. So we are going to be using this is the Golden Honey Specialty Designer Series paper, which is a Celebration item in our Celebration catalog. So I talked about this with my last video also, because the stamp set that we used was Celebration, and this Designer Series paper, the Specialty Designer Series paper, is also from the Celebration catalog. So if you spend $50 or more, or I guess I should say when you spend $50, you can get this pack of Designer Series paper completely free. It's really, really, really pretty. And again, it's Specialty Designer Series paper because it has the gold foiling on it. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see that on camera or how well it gets picked up. But we're going to be using these two patterns, and they're both gold foiled. So this one that we have here, excuse me, this is like this really fun hexagon, right? Yeah, hexagon pattern. And this piece is cut at 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then I have this piece here, and this is where we're going to be using our dies. So you don't need necessarily like a certain dimension of it. You just need a piece that has a full size of the big bee and then a full size of the medium sized bee, because we're going to be cutting those out with our dies. So that's what's really fun about this also, is this paper coordinates with the die, so you can cut out these images. So if you didn't have that stamp set, or you didn't want to stamp it, or whatever the case may be, you can actually use this as other embellishments on your card. It's not just paper. So I love when we do that, when you can actually punch things out or cut them out, or die cut them out using the dies or the punches that coordinate with other product. So one of my favorite things to do. And then for paper, so we have basic black here, and there's a lot of it. So we have this piece of basic black, and this one is cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then we are also using basic black for our card base, which is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, and I'll be scoring it at 4 1/4. And then I just have a couple of scrap pieces of paper here. So you just need this to cut out 2 circles. So these are the middle 2 sizes of the circles from the Stitch Shapes die set. So scraps that you have laying around, and that's what I used here. As long as they're large enough to fit these 2 dies, that's really what you're looking for. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so I want to start off by getting all of my big shot work out of the way, all of my die cutting. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I have my 2 scraps of basic black that I'm going to be using. I'm going to just scooch these off to the side for a second, and then I'm going to take the 2 bee dies from that die set, and I'm just going to place these here on my designer series paper. I have just a piece of washi over here. As usual, I put it on my pants or my jeans for a second, just to get all of the stickiness off of it. And then I'm just going to put that on there so that it stays in place. And then I'm going to take the other little one and put it right here on this guy. And the easiest way that I found to line these guys up is with the wings. So if you line the wings up in the with the die from the designer series paper to the die in the corners there, it seems to line up really pretty and work pretty well as just kind of a trick, as an easy way to line things up. So that's something that you can try if you're having issues feeling like you're getting a good cut or things like that. So now let's load up our cutting plate here. So I'm going to start with these pieces of basic black, and I'm just trying to see how I can get all of this on one. That should work. Scooch that in okay, perfect. We should be able to get all of this in one swoop. So I'm going to crank this through. And I've talked about this a couple times. I really need new cutting plates. So I'm going to crank this through a couple of times just to make sure that it is all nice and cut all the way through. That should be good. Pull this out. I really should just buy new cutting plates. I've said that like 117 times, it feels like. I just never do. I always forget to. I should put it on my list. I got a new planner this year, and I have one section of it is all about like shopping lists and things that I want to purchase for just like my office, or a product that I kind of I didn't get right away because it wasn't like the top things that I wanted. And I should just, or like if I need to restock on stuff like Whisper White cardstock, I go through a bunch of that, things like that. When I start running low on supplies, I will put it on my list so that I know that I need to purchase it the next time I place an order. And I should just put cutting plates on there, but I just haven't. And I don't know what I'm going to. So anyway, so we have all of our little stuff cut out for now. So you have 2 bees and then 2 circles. I'm going to take the bees as well as the larger circle, and we're going to set those aside. I'm going to bring in my Versamark and my gold embossing powder. I'm going to grab, just have this scratch piece of paper here that I had folded in half that I use when I do my embossing. So I am going to set this down first. And I'm going to take, again, the little stamp here that says, "Thinking of you, sweet friend." I just thought this was a really cute little sentiment, because like if you have a friend that's going through a hard time, you could send this to them. If you just wanted to tell somebody that you're thinking about them, you could use it. There's like 100 different things that you could use this one for. So I thought it would be really, really versatile, especially with this very pretty, elegant card. You could use it for so many different things. So I'm going to ink this up with Versamark and then just stamp it right in the middle of our smaller circle here. Super, super simple. That's all the stamping that we're doing for today. So I'm going to set that off to the side. And then with my gold embossing powder, I'm just going to put this all over the sentiment. Tap, tap, tap. And then, like I was saying earlier, I just take this little brush and I just kind of give it a look-see to see, is there any stray embossing powder anywhere? It doesn't look like there is on this one, so we're good to go. So then I'm going to take this piece of paper, funnel all of my embossing powder back in, cap this up so that I don't spill, push it off to the side. And now I'm just going to take my heat tool, take my heat tool. I have my pair of tweezers here that I like to use so that I don't burn my fingers. And I'm just going to go ahead and heat set this. Okay, so we are done with that, and we're like literally almost done creating this card. This one is a super, super simple one. I love it. So I'm going to take this, flip it over, and I'm just going to use some regular old snail and put a little bit on the back. And then I'm going to stick it down into the center of the larger circle. You'll see that I did a lot of layering on this card, like tone on tone layering or really color on color layering. I layered a lot of the elements together, even though they were the same color of cardstock. I just really liked the look of that. I thought it gave it a little bit more dimension without having to have a ton of different colors included in the card. So it's black on black, but it gives it a little bit of extra something because it is the stitch shape and there is a little bit of dimension there. So I really, really like that. So that's done. We're going to set that off to the side for a second. I'm going to bring in my other piece of Designer Series paper and then the smaller piece of basic black cardstock. I don't know why, I just had a really hard time remembering the name of that. But again, with just some regular old snail, I'm going to put this down. And I'm just going to center it here on the card. There is that. Then I'm going to bring in my card base and I'm going to flip this over. So again, I'm putting a black piece on a black card base, but it just gives a little bit of extra texture and like I said 500 times, a little bit of extra dimension. I really like the look of it. It's completely optional. If you feel like you didn't want to do it, you don't have to. You can just put the piece of Designer Series paper directly on your card base. That would look really, really pretty also. So now that we have that there, I'm going to take our little sentiment, I'm going to flip this over, take a few dimensionals, just like that. I am then going to put this right here in the bottom right corner. I don't know why, but I've really been loving putting my sentiments in the bottom right corner. Like I just said, I don't know why. I just think it's a fun, different kind of thing. So it's not just like center and focused and all of that stuff. It's kind of like off to the side a little bit, and I think it just looks really cool. So I don't know, just something I've been liking. And then for our little accent, I'm going to take our little bees here, and I'm just going to use some glue dots because I think it just is the easiest to adhere the bees to the paper with. And I'm just going to put one right on the back of the middle of the body towards the top of the bee, and then one like on the wing here. And that's because it's kind of hanging off. I'm going to place it kind of hanging off of the sentiment piece. So right about there looks good to me. And then this other little one I'm going to put towards the top. So I'm just going to do, whoops. I'm just going to do like one right there. And then this guy will go right about there. Then we're going to fold this guy over and crease it. And that is it. That's the card for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, this paper is absolutely beautiful. You can get it completely free through Celebration, which is only going on for a short period of time. So make sure that you jump in if you're interested in that. As always, you can purchase any of these products 24/7 just by going to littlemooncreation.stampinup.net, or you can go to littlemooncreation.com to see a ton of different things, ideas, projects, all of that fun stuff. So I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.